All right, folks, welcome back. Today I went down to Northern Tools and bought this trailer, a 40-inch by 48-inch trailer. I'm gonna use it to haul our motorcycles, or I'm sorry, our mini bikes around with. Last week I ordered 3 mini bikes from Coleman, or actually from Walmart, but they're Coleman mini bikes. So we'll do some videos on those in the future, I'm sure. Either way, I'm gonna put this thing together. I'll bring you folks along here and there in different stages. And but it comes in two boxes if you're looking at getting it, and it fit comfortably in the back of the FJ. But this is the one box here, and this is the other box. This should be the axle, I'm guessing, in here. Maybe even leaf springs, maybe, but just the axle. But we'll see, folks. I'm using my lift. I'm gonna raise my lift up to a comfortable level so I don't have to bend over so much, and put this thing together. One thing I can tell you about this already, because years ago I bought a 48 by 4 foot by 8 foot Harbor Freight, which is basically the same design, just a smaller trailer. And it's a bolt together. This is a bolt together type of trailer here, folks. And one thing you got to do is make sure once you start bolting it together, you check your diagonals, what we call diagonals there. And before you bolt everything down real good and secure, get everything square. And right now the plan is to take one of my sheets of aluminum and cut it in half and use it for my floor. Quick update here, these instructions suck. They suck. They just tell you to put your pieces out. They don't tell you any kind of orientation or anything. If you go back here, look at the picture diagram here, parts list. They really don't show you any orientation. So I'm gonna show you what I figured out here, folks. Maybe this will help you if you buy this, or if you're looking at the video because you bought one. First off, you put it on, you try to put this thing together upside down, first off. And I've got everything laid out, and I'll show you how I figured it out. Number one, I started looking at the picture on the box. It helped a little bit. But two things is these flat pieces here, these middle bars run widthwise. They got a flat lip. They face down toward the road. Okay, they face toward the road. So remember, I'm building this thing upside down at this point until I turn it over. So they face the road, and you got three of these, and you got, of course, 2 sides, and then you got your tongue, and then you got the axle. One thing to remember about these is you'll have a hole. Every place one of these goes, you have a hole here, and you'll also have a hole down here that bolts on the other side, right there. And they have to line up. In other words, you have to put a bolt there and a bolt there. If you've got this thing turned the wrong way, like these lip facing the opposite way here, it won't line up there. So that's one thing to look at to make sure you're putting it together right. That these 2 sets of holes line up all the way down on each side, everywhere. You should have 2 of those holes everywhere you go. And if those line up, you should be good, at least at this point. Now what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna put the tongue on, and we're gonna start bolting it down. Real quick, what came in the box? Or the big box here, you would think that these came in the big box. They didn't. The big box had the fenders, had the boxes here, also came with a title, leaf springs, and my tires, my wheels and tires, along with the hitch receiver there. In the small box, my long box, it was the bars and my axle. All right, folks, I'm at another point that might cause people problems here. These are your leaf spring sliders. So here, 2 things. One thing to remember is to put your rear bolt in first. This is the very rear bolt in first. Also remember you got the trailer upside down at this point, and then once you put that bolt in first, then you'll put this leaf spring slider in and bolt it down. Now, as you can see on this side here, I've already done that. if I move this leaf spring up out the way, you can see it's bolted in there. Now what I did on this is, since I was going through 2 pieces of metal here, all these bolts that come in the kit on one of the bags that puts the trailer together, all of them are the same length. So what I did here is on that particular bolt, I put some red Loctite. I didn't have any blue, but I put some red Loctite on here on the nut down here, just because. I don't know if I can show it. See how that one sticks out? That one doesn't. And there's no bolts in this kit just for these, just for that. So I even thought about not even using this, but it's here, it's there to be used for a reason. Here you go. Here's in the instructions. The instructions are terrible, folks. But there you go. It shows it here. I guess it shows it going in the first hole, which would be this hole here, facing toward the rear. It doesn't show that you have any special bolt for this. So that's that, folks. Now, the other, everything's, you basically need 1 of 2 sizes, or you need 2 sizes wrenches. You need a 17 millimeter, 2 of those for the tops and bottoms, or 1 of those in a socket, 17 socket. And you're gonna need a 3/4, because everything on this side, everything to do with the springs, or 3/4. A little bit bigger, folks. All right, folks, putting the axle here on is pretty simple. You got little studs here in the leaf springs sticking up. You got a hole in your axle there. They line right up. Lines right up. All right, get them put in there. All right, folks, we're about to put these wheels on here. And basically, you got to take the nuts and washers off the end. And these things come with grease already in them. These wheels do. And they're already capped, but you gotta take the cap off. So they also come with a grease fitting here to grease these things. Once you got them on the back side. But what I'm doing here is, bearings on trailers are one of the first things to go out on a trailer, is the bearings. So it's always better to be safe. Of course, you don't never want to overpack these things, but I put some more grease in here, some wheel grease, bearing grease. And also I'm filling the, where's it at? Oh. Filling the cap here with grease. So when I pop it on, once these things start to heat up, this grease will kind of break down a little bit and cover these bearings better. So it's just better to be safe than sorry. And this should be a maintenance thing that you do anyway. Every 6 months or so, you should grease these bearings. You do that, then you should have a trailer, at least axle wise, it lasts a while, of course. Put this plate on. Now, the thing with this plate here is, just like over here with the axle, there's a little notch underneath where this plate fits. And as long as you put it in that plate and that notch, you can't go wrong. You can't, it's just a matter of putting the U-bolts on there and tightening them up at that point. So really, this is really not a difficult task. It just takes a little time. And if you review this, if you're putting one of these together and review this, then you should have no problem taking care of this. Trailer costs $315. Well, actually about $310. And after tax. Okay, folks, I've been sitting right here for the last 30 minutes looking for these 2 little things right here. Thinking my girls done lost them, messing with them, lost them and everything else. And they were in one of these sleeves right here. So I was doing that wheel over there, looking for the carter pin. So I had to I made a makeshift carter pin. And I went to take this one off the sleeve here, off this axle, and it was taped or stuffed inside this. So if you buy this kit, if you buy one of these kits and you're looking for the, well, when you take these off the axles, make sure you check them. And so now I gotta go back over there and take the cap off and put the carter pin. Well, I say carter pin, I don't know if it's called carter pin. It's bearing pin or whatever. It goes through the axle and you bend it out on either side in like a Y so it won't come out. Basically, here we go. Here, let me show you folks. Once you got the nut, once you got your nut in, once you got this on, here you got it tightened down. Then you check your wheel, make sure it will spin, and you back it out maybe a quarter of a turn. And you stick this in like that. And you bend this out, bend it one way and bend it the other, and it keeps the nut from backing out. All right, folks, this is the finished product here. Let's see. Let's see here. Went ahead and cut out a piece of my sheet metal over there. It's 40 inches. I cut it 40 inches by, or 48. Well, 48 was the width. So I cut off 40 inches of that. Set it on here. I already went ahead and wired this thing up. I haven't tried it on my truck yet to see if it's gonna light up, but should. Ran the wiring. Wiring's not the best. I mean, as far as how I ran it, it's not the best, but you got side markers here, turn markers. Should have brake lights here. And I'm sure it should be turn signals also. But all I should have to do now is, there's a bolt. There's 3 bolts across, and all 3 of these beams there. So basically buy 9 bolts and nuts. Probably the same size as these here, and then take this metal here, line it up, take me a marker underneath, and mark the holes on the aluminum, flip it over, and drill some holes, and I should be able to bolt this thing right on. Now the only thing you can't get around is, unless you cut these out, in these little sections here, it's not going to sit flat. If that's something that really bothers you, then you have to get a grinding wheel and just cut out around all these bolts here. And the bolts, for the most part, are at the corners, except for right there in the middle. So you just chop your corners off. If you had to have it sit flat, which I don't have to sit flat. And I'm assuming these are stake holes here for stakes, if you need to put stakes on here, which I'm not gonna do. So the only thing I'm gonna do next here, folks, is put some rails, put 3 sets of rails for these mini bikes, and I'm probably gonna have to offset them. That way the one in the middle can sit a little further, the handlebars don't hit. Or I could load the mini bikes, 1 straight, 1 backwards, and 1 straight. That'd be another thing. I have had 3 of them. All right, folks, well, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking the channel out. If you would, like and subscribe, I really would appreciate it. And this took me about a half a day. I started at about noonish, and I had to stop and take a break and go do something, had to run some errands. And but yeah, it took about a half a day, maybe a little more. All right, folks, if you would, smash the like button, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Leave me some feedback. Thank you.